So we got here the Xiaomi Mi Max 2. This is the successor to the Mi Max, which I've been using for the last year. And I really do like this phone. I've always gone back to it because of its immersive large screen and very good battery life. So this really isn't a successor to the Mi Max 2. It's more, I feel, of an improved and revised version. I think Xiaomi should really call this the Mi Max S, because that's really what it is, because the chipset has been downgraded to a Snapdragon 625. So it is a super large mobile phone, as you can see, 6.44-inch screen, and when you use it as a phone, you sometimes do get a few looks like you're holding a mini tablet up to your ear. Well, really you are, because this to me has the best features of a mobile phone and a tablet in one. And having something like this in my pocket means I don't even need to have a 7 or 8-inch tablet because I've got this right here. So what has it improved on the new model? We have now a new unibody housing, which is a lot stronger, just looks better, feels better in hand as well. Slightly smaller bezels. We have a new camera, 2 loudspeakers, but the overall layout of the phone, as you'll see, is exactly the same. So our screen is a 1080p IPS, 6.44 inches as just mentioned, and has a maximum brightness of 510 lux, which means it is quite bright. Now, it's not the sharpest panel because it's 1080p stretched over 6.44 inches, but I do find it be fine. If you look close enough, you will see the pixels on there. And the screen fares quite well in direct sunlight, even though it's only 510 lux, where other screens can go way up over 600. I find it perfectly fine. I'm able to send text messages, make calls, and see what I'm doing on the screen clearly without issues. On the top, we've got a 5 megapixel front-facing camera. It's exactly the same as the Mi Max, so it's got an f2.2 aperture, and the quality of it might have been slightly tweaked via software, but as you'll see later on, it's not really the best front-facing camera. Ambient light sensor, the proximity sensor, the earpiece has changed because it now incorporates a loudspeaker. The quality of it during voice calls I find to be slightly better than the Mi Max. Down the bottom, our capacitive backlit menu keys. Along the bottom, we've got a slight change here. Now it's unibody. We don't have the plastic along the bottom like you do with the Mi Max. The microphone and loudspeakers here. Now the loudspeaker handles mostly mids and lows, Type-C port, and 2 Torx screws holding things in. So if you drop it, the whole thing shouldn't split apart, which used to happen with the Mi Max. Fingerprint readers in the same location as the Mi Max. It works really well. It unlocks every single time for me. No problems with that. So on the rear, we've got this new camera module now. So this is a Sony IMX386, the same exact sensor that's in the Mi 6, but it does not have optical image stabilization. The aperture is f2.0, and it does have a dual tone LED flash to the left of it. So a big improvement here over the Mi Max's 16 megapixel camera. On the top, the 3.5mm headphone jack. Really good quality out of this. There's no static, there's no interference. Secondary microphone for noise cancellation and video. An IR transmitter. And these buttons here, these are made out of metal and they do not rattle around. They don't make any noise, which is great. And lastly, on the left side is the SIM tray, which will take either 2 SIMs or you have to give up one of those SIMs if you want to use a micro SD card. And note that if you live in Europe, there is no Band 20 support, unfortunately. So compared to the previous model, the build quality has improved significantly. It just feels so much better in hand with those rounded corners and a more of a quality device too, without having the plastic at the bottom, which you can see here. We still have the plastic strips there on the Mi Max, which is for the antenna reception. Now the antenna lines are part of the design on the Max 2. And the internal black bezel has now been halved on the Max 2. You can see on the Max there, that it was quite ugly, a bit of an eyesore, so it's good to see them slimming that down. So all you get in the box is a quick charger here, which is quick charge 3 spec because it's 12 volts, 1.5 amps, and it will fully charge the phone in approximately 2 hours and 23 minutes, which is quite fast considering the battery capacity. A Type-C cable, and then a SIM tool here, so there is no included headset or other extras like a case. So the ROM it came with is 8.5.1. This is a stable version, and unlike other phones I've tested from Xiaomi, this really is stable because the Mi 6 wasn't, neither was the Mi 5C or the Mi Pad 3. It's based off Android 7.1.1, and the performance of it feels faster and smoother than my Snapdragon 650 powered Mi Max. So getting around in things, website browsing, super smooth, really good performance, very happy with it. Now it does not come with Google Play installed, you need to install that yourself, but it's not too hard to do. And you see there that performance, really good, multitasking, switching between apps and things, really don't have any problems with it whatsoever. It's YouTube here, really quick performance. It does not feel like a Snapdragon 625 to me, at least when you're in the ROM. Now benchmarks like Antutu will show that the Mi Max is faster, of course, but this is on paper. Benchmark scores to me really aren't everything. It's down to the performance, and maybe because it's got a newer ROM on here. This of course has Android 6 still, but this is the global ROM, the latest stable, and this has Android 7. I just feel it's a little bit better optimized, perhaps helped by that additional 1 GB of memory. So even though I said that benchmarks aren't everything, I'm still going to show you benchmarks here because I do believe it's important that you can gauge that between your own mobile phone, and people like to see this. So this is Geekbench 4. And the Antutu score that I just showed you, and the internal storage. Now these results here are faster than the Mi Max, slightly faster. So eMMC 5 spec, the PC Mark score, this is the Work 2 performance. I mean, that's an okay score for this chipset. Now, this is an error that I wanted to show you that does pop up with Gmail when you're syncing. Okaying this, it goes away, and I can use Gmail perfectly fine. Wireless speeds. Now, the wireless speed and range I found to be good. Now, it's not the fastest. The wireless range and performance is not as good as the Mi 6. I found the Mi 6 wireless to be one of the best I have ever tested because it has a dual antenna setup and really good range, but still good performance. And here are my 4G speeds. Again, not bad. Good for the chipset. GPS performance, no issues with it really. Okay, at times it wasn't as accurate as I would like to see, like 3 meters, but it kept up with me walking around town, later driving and testing it in a car as well. No problems really. I find it's fine. I wanted to go into a little bit more depth here with the battery life because I believe it's one of the most important aspects of the mobile phone, more so with this combination of a Snapdragon 625 and of course a 5300 mAh battery. So here I was playing this battery test, 3% battery life. I had Walking Dead for almost 5 hours, and this is 50% brightness. Chrome for 4 hours and 24 minutes. Most of the time I was actually streaming using YouTube, and there was YouTube streaming too, so I used the YouTube app, and that was almost 2 hours there. So screen on time of 15 hours and 35 minutes is really good. Now, the screen on times that I can get out of this, they are a lot bigger than the Mi Max. The Mi Max, I can get around 20% more with this mobile, if not more, as you'll see. So there's the history of that. The wireless was on the whole time. Now, I used wireless. If I used my data, 4G data, which I don't have a lot of, then the times would be a bit less here. Now, here I got 19 hours of screen on time, which is phenomenal. This is crazy. I lowered the brightness here though down to 40%, and there is the screen on. You can see 19 hours. Same kind of use. I was going through my apps and all that. So Walking Dead, Asphalt Extreme. So Walking Dead was on for 3 hours, gaming with that. Asphalt Extreme for almost 2 hours. YouTube use, Chrome. Some of the applications there didn't pop up. And yeah, 19 hours. Crazy battery life. Now to cover the standby battery drain, so when the screen's off, it's just sitting there not doing anything. I had 19% battery here, and the time was 16 minutes past 8. When I finally lost 1%, so now and then I was checking the screen, was about 4 hours later, as you can see. So not bad. So every 4 hours, you're going to lose, every 4 to 5 hours, about 1% battery. So very good standby battery consumption. Xiaomi added a front-facing loudspeaker on there. Now this one handles the mids and more the high end, where the speaker at the bottom handles more mids and lows. So let's have a listen to how it sounds. But it's a lot better than the Mi Max.
Get down.
However, I have noticed that depending on what kind of track it is, if it's super loud, like something like a game, you will get some distortion coming out of the speakers. 3.5mm headphone quality also is really good. As mentioned in the start, that it's clear, there's no static over there, and reasonably loud volume output. Now, gaming performance, it's not the fastest because, of course, it's a Snapdragon 625 with Adreno 506 GPU, but it does play all of the games out there, demanding titles, newer titles, with at least playable frame rates. If you haven't seen my gaming review, then check that one out. You'll see that I test a lot more games. And you will see occasional stutters now and then, but overall, the best thing about it is you can game for a very long time because of the battery life. The camera app here from Xiaomi hasn't changed, it's still the same MIUI 8.1, so you've got various different modes here. So video will go all the way up to 1080p. I'll show you some samples of that in just a second. Slow-mo is basically useless. Time-lapse I don't find to be that good either. Both of them offer quite poor quality, and I would not be personally using them. So 4K is the maximum setting, but you always have to keep going back and setting that, which is quite annoying. Continue autofocus is enabled, but as you'll see with my sample, that there are problems with the focus still now and then, so not the greatest quality. Over in the camera mode now, the most interesting mode, of course, will be manual. So you can control the focus, the white balance, ISO, and exposure time, which goes all the way up to 32 seconds is the highest. So quite a long time there to get those streaky lights and everything like that. But of course, you'll be wanting to use a tripod for that. ISO goes up to 3200. So I've got a few samples here now to show you from the camera in both good and lower light conditions, as well as some camera samples. Now the front-facing camera, so you can hear it's not loud enough, so I've got to turn the volume up in the video editing process. It's so quiet. There's something wrong with the gain, so Xiaomi's got to go in and release an update here. The quality is okay, but I feel it's not any better than the Mi Max at all, really. So this is now the rear camera, 4K. You will see that now and then it does that. The focus still has problems, even in these conditions here, pulses in and out. Seems to be something very common with Xiaomi mobile phones and their camera optimization. So at the moment it's on continual autofocus. Focusing on the ball there. Back on the background. But I'm not at all happy with the focus. Really, it should actually be set to tap to focus to avoid these problems, but it's something we shouldn't have to do. Okay guys, so that is the Mi Max 2. I really do like it. I believe it's a all-rounded great step up from the original Mi Max, which also had great battery life, but this has taken things a step further of course, with the downgraded chipset, which is a shame to see. I would have really liked to have seen a Snapdragon 660 or the 630. However, 19 hours of screen on time when I had the brightness set to 40%, that's continual screen on time, is just crazy. That is crazy good battery life. And what that translates into for me, my own personal use, is I won't have to charge this now until about every 4th or 5th day, which is great. So a large screen, super immersive, really good for emails, for typing on the keyboard because you've got a lot more screen real estate. It just makes things easier there. Great for movies, for YouTube. Now the speakers have improved, the camera has improved, but it's not perfect as you've seen with my video samples. Video quality, the audio is far too low. Front-facing video camera quality is still quite average. It's not the greatest. And then when it comes to low light performance from that Sony IMX386, while it's a lot better than the original, the Mi Max, it's still not perfect. So it's not going to be a mobile phone for everyone. There are the cons, the obvious, that it's huge, okay? 6.44 inches. Now I can fit this in my pocket, luckily, but there will be a lot of people out there that they just won't be able to accommodate to such a large phone. We also have no NFC support, no Android Pay then, of course, and it does not support LTE band 20. So you really need to think on that. And would I buy a 7 or 8 inch tablet having such a big mobile? I would not. So this is going to be replacing my Mi Max. I'm really enjoying this so far. Thank you so much for watching this review, and I do hope to see you back in the channel because I'll have a lot more reviews up and coming. And if you've got any comments or questions, please leave them down below.